Well, if you're Man City and you're Pep and you're looking at a person to bring in that has that, number 9 quality, the number 9 style, are you looking for a world-class player, or are you looking for a player that's like good, maybe not as known, maybe not as prolific in like the score sheet, like not a Haaland or not a Lewandowski, not a Kane, obviously, but a player who's maybe, like a Mikel Antonio. Obviously he won't leave West Ham, but a player like that who's not like a world-class top-tier level, but somebody who can still do the job. Because if you do bring in a player that is a world-class, and you just made a good point by saying, okay, we're not going to play you today because we're doing false 9.
Yeah.
I'd be like, why the hell am I here then?
Yeah.
Like, if you have that backing of a world-class player, you'd want to play all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of just goes with what I'm saying with Kane and Antonio Conte. He's obviously a coach who in the past has clashed heads with other players that have like similar egos to him. They want to, be bigger than the club. Like Diego Costa was a big example I brought up last time. With Kane, I think Antonio Conte could literally say to you, like, I'm not playing you because you're playing like shit.
Yeah, probably.
Like, maybe not in those words, but at some point, you can't start this guy. You can't play him.
Yeah.
And I know that their playing style kind of dictates like having a number 1 up top, and then that gives Son the ability to kind of freely roam, because if you don't play Kane, then Son kind of has to be like your striker, which you don't really want that to happen. But at some point, you got to look at that, his run of form and how poorly he's playing, and be like, we can't use you right now.
Yeah.
Because even like the highlights that we watched today, I didn't watch the game against Norwich. Obviously, a 3-0 victory against Norwich, kind of expected from anybody. But goals by Lucas Moura, a goal by Davinson Sanchez, and Son. Again, another game that Harry Kane's not on the score sheet, and we watched the highlights of it together. And yeah, he had chances. He had half chances. The ones that he did have, he maybe could have put at least 2 away.
Mm-hmm.
At least, I'd say. Kane of old, Kane of last season, Kane of season before, he would have put away 3 maybe.
Yeah.
He's almost becoming a liability as like just another body on the field that's taking up space, because he's not doing anything.
Yeah.
And he's your captain.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be taking charge. He's the one supposed to be saying, okay, put it on me, put it on me. He's not really contributing in any point in the game.
Yeah. And, obviously I hope that, things do turn around for him. Because if he keeps playing like this, he's just going to be finding himself on the bench.
But do you think he deserves to be on the bench?
Yeah.
Like legit.
Well,
do you think
well, I mean, maybe not, because I'm not sure who comes in. Yeah, I mean, maybe for Tottenham, I think, he's still contributing enough where he's getting playing time. I think Conte wants to give him time. But
he's had time.
Does, yeah.
He's not a player that's like developing still. He's not a player that needs time to get in the squad. He's been there. He missed the first couple games because there was a quote-unquote injury with him. I do the air quotations because we didn't know what was happening with transfers with Harry Kane. He was kind of sitting out, saying that he was injured. So I think he missed the first 3 games of the season or so. But they have Brighton next match.
Yeah.
Brighton away. I'm not playing Harry Kane this game.
No.
And the thing is, too, it's like obviously we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, like what's happening in training. If he's giving a good attitude in training, if he's if he's being energetic and like still being motivated, because like he doesn't look like he wants to be there.
Yeah.
And we touched on it earlier in the podcast like a couple episodes ago, how as Kane and as like a captain, yes, you're pissed off because you didn't get your big move, your big money move. But now you're still there. You're still with the club that has brought you to the level and the pedigree that you're at now. You have to owe the club now a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got a sore face right now. You got your head's a little scrambled out because you don't know where you are going to play potentially next year or whatever, next summer. You're still at the club. You still have to perform for the club.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's just giving a shitty attitude all the time.
Yeah. And, I mean, credit to Tottenham because, before Conte got there, they were dropping points and Kane was playing bad. Now, they're on a, pretty solid win streak. Kind of propelled them up to 5th. So, I mean, in hindsight at the club, everything's going in the right direction. Whether Kane's part of that future, only time will tell. but they're being pretty competitive with Conte at the moment, and they're fighting for that European spot. And it's getting tighter and tighter with West Ham at 27, Tottenham 25, Man U 24, and Arsenal 23. It's gonna be tight in there, because things are happening. Obviously the manager changes at Tottenham and Man U have worked in the very short time, but it's gonna make for a really exciting Champions League draw if it stays like this.
Yeah, that's going to be a good fight, too. We have, 3 good fights throughout the table.
Yeah.
Obviously, top spot is a 3-horse race that we've touched on. Champions League, obviously, way more beneficial to getting into that than Europa.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as always, the ever-enticing relegation battle.
Relegation battle. Sorry, before we get into that, I'm just reading up on a couple things. I guess this is just speculation. Well, I don't think it's actually speculation. I guess City offered money and Bernardo Silva for Harry Kane. I didn't know that. And I think that transfer didn't happen. Yeah, I did not know they offered. I don't know if
Spurs,
it's on.
Take that.
It's on take over what it is on the. It's actually on 2 websites. But yeah, if you're Spurs, that's just a very, and they're saying who knows if it's true, but they're saying they regret not taking that transfer. But if you're Spurs, you got to be aware of your romantic attachment to players. I guess a lot of clubs fall into that so, and I think they actually did a good job with Bale when he wanted to leave. They, sold him and bought 9 players. Granted, all 9 players didn't work out, but maybe they didn't want to make the same mistake. But you got to be aware, and I keep saying if a player wants to leave, and I've heard multiple commentators say it, if they want to leave, you have to let them leave. You have, because they're just depreciating. They're not going to be with the club, and you're just who's going to pay 125 million for Harry Kane in the winter? No one. So you just,
But it disrupts the flow of the club if a disgruntled player is still there.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I mean. And just from looking at the last couple lineups that Tom's been putting out, not many teams nowadays have just a number 9 when you think about it as well.
Yeah.
Just a pure a 3-4-2-1 formation.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like a 3-4-3 or 4-3-3 with wingers and players playing out wide. They kind of have Lucas Moura and Son as drop back a little bit. They obviously do flood the wings all the time, and they kind of have free roam because they have those 4 players in the back there with Tanganga, who comes in and out of the squad. Skip's been getting a lot of playing time, in Højbjerg, who's been just a great player for them, great signing.
Yeah.
Last couple of seasons.
Yeah.
And Reguilon, they don't get forward that often.
Yeah.
You never really see them join the play very much. Højbjerg sometimes gets up in there.
Yeah.
He might have a shot every once in a while, but usually score it.
Yeah.
But those 4 guys, they don't get so advanced that they're going to be caught out defensively. So it's it kind of just gives the ability for Lucas Moura and Son to just kind of roam freely.
Yeah.
So even though they're playing more of a drop back, almost kind of 2 center attacking midfielder roles, they're just playing false nines in their own.
Yeah.
And then Kane's just a target.
Yeah.
So if they were to, sell Harry Kane this coming January or even next season, how are they going to switch the formation? Because are they going to bring in a number 9 again and keep the same way going? Conte will have a whole new squad to play with, basically. Because if you have Lucas and Son still there, which I'm sure they will still remain there, they can now play a formation kind of like City plays, kind of like Liverpool plays, with having 3 interchangeable players basically as forwards. Because Kane's not interchangeable. Kane's very one-dimensional, but he does a very good job at that one-dimensional thing when he's cooking.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And maybe that could be something that, City may not want him if they realize, he's one-dimensional, and if he's they're no, he's not not doing it. So it's well, if he can't do that, why?
If he can't do the one thing he's really good at, then it's we can't use him.
Yeah.
And I know I've been bashing Kane, and it's tough because he's been. I mean, I did it was just for fun, but I did a list of decade players for the English Premier League from 2010 to 2009, a 10-year team of the decade. I had Kane as my striker because if you look in the past couple of seasons, the last 6 years, I'd say he has been clearly the top striker in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Mo Salah's there, and Eden Hazard years and years ago for Chelsea was there. But Kane and Aguero basically as well were always the constants. And they're putting away 30 goals a year, putting 27, 26, 31. Like Kane's tally of goals in the last 6 seasons are absolutely crazy. So when you have that pedigree and when you have that reputation and then you have a sudden drop this poorly or this drastic, it's hard not to like harp on the player.
Yeah.
It's hard not to get after him and say, why are you not playing so good anymore? Why are you playing like crap? Like, what is it with this player?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's difficult of a place that he's in. And, like, we're just a couple schmucks saying this. There's people with actual pedigree, just people with actual credentials in the world of football, in England, in the paper.
Yeah.
Saying the exact same thing that we are that actually have more impact.
Yeah.
And that actually gets out to him.
Yeah.
So, like, he's hearing it from everywhere.
Yeah.
He could be hearing it from his grandmother. Like, Harry, why are you playing so bad? Like, I bought all this Tottenham stuff. Why are you playing so bad, Harry? Like, I'm going to have to start selling this to pay for my home.
Yeah, it's just having a rough go.
You know what I mean? Like, it's got, obviously, it's such a tough spot to be in, but it's just when you, like I said, when you have the pedigree, when you have the performance of the past as good as he is, you have to live up to that expectation or you're going to be like crucified right away.
Yeah.
And it's been going on a run of almost 3 months now.